Matrix, and welcome to Was a Matrix. My name is Luni, and today we're assisting you with your exam prep for business studies. All you need to do to get your questions and comments through to us is search for Was a Matrix on all our social media platforms, as well as hit us up on our WhatsApp line. All of the details are on the screen. We've got a cool competition going on for you guys, so please stay tuned to get all of those details. I've got Nicolene, our sign language interpreter, as well as Dave, our awesome teacher. Thank you so much, guys, and over to you.
Hi Matrix, welcome. Today we will be doing Business Studies Paper 2 with an emphasis on business roles. The first question we're going to be looking at today is Lerato, Josiah and Jerry started a recycling project known as Shining Stars. Josiah always questioned the other members' ideas and opinions as he wanted to be the team leader. The team members eventually reached an agreement and consensus on the way forward. So as we can see here, if we're looking at that little case study there, they're talking about the stages of a team. So you need to, as soon as you read a case study, see, right, what are they going to ask from us here? So let's see what the question is. So question 1.1 is identify 2 stages of team development that were experienced by SS. Motivate your answer by quoting from the scenario above, right? So, and then we've got stages of team development, and then your motivation in which you must quote. Right, guys, I keep emphasizing this, please. When you quote, ensure that you use quotation marks so that you don't lose out on any unnecessary marks there. So if we look at our answer, the first stage is storming, right? Josiah always questioned the other members' ideas and opinions as he wanted to be the team leader, right? Don't forget to put in your quotation marks there. So storming is when there's a lot of conflict within a team. So often team members that come with their own goals that they want to achieve, maybe past cultures from different teams that they want to bring in, and that might be in contradiction to other team members. So we're going to have a lot of conflict arising out of this storming stage. Sometimes, however, certain teams don't move out of the storming stage. So what do we have to do? We have to reform a team with new team members. If we look at the next stage, it is norming, settling, or reconciliation, mainly known as norming. So the team members eventually reached an agreement and consensus on the way forward. Right, so norming is like where you've got your expected behavior from the team. So if we look at the 2019 Springbok team, they had a rule that the first day of practice, if you couldn't practice for whatever reason, you weren't allowed to play in the match that day, or the next match, you weren't allowed to start. And there was an example of when Cheslin Colby got injured, and he missed that training. However, the rest of his trainings during the week was really good, and Rassie Erasmus wanted to put him in the starting team, and then the team said, no, that is not one of our norms. Cheslin Colby himself even said, no, I can't play because I didn't practice, right? So that had what was expected from the team members, and then make sure that everyone knows what is expected so that there's harmony in the team. All right, so our next question is explain 3 other stages of team development. Don't forget you've got your 5 stages of team development. So we've already spoken about 2 in terms of storming and norming, and now we're going to go through the other 3 stages of team development. So the first stage of team development is the forming stage. All right, so that's where we're going to get together. All right, so think of your matric class. In the beginning of the year, you had your forming stage. You might have had a new teacher. You had new learners in your class. So you were part of a team, and for that year, it was the business studies matric group. All right, so if we look, individuals gather information and impressions about each other and the scope of the task and how to approach it. All right, so you're going to see, right, meet new people. You're going to learn new things about the people in your team. If we go to that example of in your matric group, in your matric class, you're going to learn about new learners in your class, and you might also see, right now, matric is going to be a completely different way on how you're going to work in class compared to when you're in grade 11. This is a comfortable stage to be in. Right? There's no conflict. Generally, people have just formed their team, so they're going to be welcoming everyone else. There's going to be a lot of smiles, right? And you're not expected to do work just yet because the team has still formed. So it's not a very difficult stage to be in. People focus on being busy with routines such as team organization, who does what, and when to meet each other, etc. Right? And team members are aware of strategies and aims of the team. Right? So this is when we start to perform. They have a direction without interference from the leader. Right? So now that we've formed, right, we've had our storming where we've had our conflict. Then we have our norms in which we have now made our rules and behavior. Now we're going to start performing, right? So now we're actually going to get down to doing the work and making sure that that the work gets done. And then processes and structures are set. So how we're going to do our work, how we're going to go about achieving our goals and objectives. If we also look at leaders delegate and oversee the processes and procedures, and all members are now competent, autonomous, and able to handle the decision-making process without supervision, right? Because we're performing, everyone knows what is expected of them, right? You don't have to have the manager or the leader that's always looking over the workers' shoulders to see if they're doing the right thing. Everyone knows what's expected of them and how to go out and achieve it. And if we look, the differences amongst members are accepted and used to enhance the team's performance. So often if you don't get the storming stage right, you don't get into the norming and you don't get into the performing. So if we use the 2019 Springboks, right, a team built of different personalities that come from different socio-economic backgrounds, they're different physically, come from different cultures, different races, right? The Springboks embraced that and they said, right, yes, we are very different, but collectively our differences are going to be something that is positive and where a lot of good will come out of that, because what one team member might have as a weakness, another team member can have as a strength, and they embrace everyone's differences because they were like, right, this is what is going to make us a fantastic team. As we can see, they won the Rugby World Cup in 2019. If we look at the final stage, that's adjourning. Right, so the focus is on the completion of the task or ending of the project. Right, so if you look at the end of the Rugby World Cup, some players' contracts ended at the end of the Rugby World Cup. Some coaches' contracts ended at the end of the Rugby World Cup. So what happens is then the team adjourns. Right, their whole point, their whole project, which was the Rugby World Cup, right, it's come to an end. So therefore, the team is going to disband. Breaking up the team may be traumatic, as team members may find it difficult to perform as individuals once again. Right, so some people might be like, well, I've never been in a team environment like this, and now I'm never going to be able to be a part of a team like this again, which can be quite traumatic. If you just look at a lot of the stories coming out of the Springbok 2019 rugby team, right, their stories that the players had, they had never been a part of a team like that, and it can be quite traumatic when the team has to break up because you've achieved so much, and now you're an individual again, and you're not seen as a part of the team. All tasks need to be completed before the team it finally dissolves. Right, so the task at the Rugby World Cup in 2019 was to win the Rugby World Cup. So they wouldn't have been successful if the Springboks got knocked out in the quarterfinals, because the whole point of this project was to win the 2019 Rugby World Cup, which the Springboks did. Right, our next question is discuss the advantages of creative thinking in the workplace. Do not confuse creative thinking and problem solving. Creative thinking helps us with problem solving. So the first advantage of creative thinking in the workplace is that we're going to have better, unique, or unconventional ideas or solutions are generated. So if you look at technology, the technology that we've got coming through 20 years ago, people couldn't think about that technology. 30 years ago, people would never have believed that you could fit thousands of songs on a small device like your cell phone and it's all there in one place. Right? So creative thinking is going to help us see things from a very different point of view, from a different angle, which is going to result in us coming up with better solutions and better products and services. It may give the business a competitive advantage if unusual or unique solutions, ideas, or strategies are implemented. So we can see in the way that technology moves, people want to try new things, things that are going to make our lives easier, things that might not have been there when they first came out. Right? So if I look at from when I was in matric 20 years ago, we never had the cell phones and the smartphones that you guys are able to access now. We thought we were very lucky and privileged when you had the Nokia 3210 and Snake 1. If we look now, the smartphones that you guys have access to, they're very creative, they're very interactive, so they're able to give you products and services that didn't exist before. And complex business problems may be solved, right, using creativity, because we're looking at things from a completely different point of view. We're seeing what can we add here, what can we take away to make a completely different product or service. Productivity increases as management employees may quickly generate multiple ideas, which utilizes time and money more effectively. So the more you practice your creativity, the more solutions you're going to come up with, the quicker you're going to come up with those solutions. So it means that we have to use less resources, use less time, and therefore we're going to be more efficient. The more efficient we are, the more profitable we'll be. The more profitable we are, the more sustainable our business will be. And then managers and employees have more confidence as they can live up to their full potential. So when you feel that you are creatively empowered, you're going to feel that you're going to have more confidence because now you're living up to your potential. You're creating solutions where in the past you might not have thought that you have been able to create solutions. Just use yourself as an example. Look how creative you were in grade 10. Compare that to the creativity that you have now in grade 12. Right? You've grown more, right? And you're more confident in that space. Managers will be better leaders as they'll be able to handle and manage change positively and creatively. Change is something that's very, very scary for all of us. But if you are more creative, you can handle change a lot better. You'll be a lot more positive about it. And when you're more positive about that change, you're going to feel a lot more productive and at ease. And managers and employees can develop a completely new outlook, which may be applied to any tasks they may do. So the way that you go and do things, you're doing it very differently, and you're applying that to the tasks that you are currently doing, which can mean that you can maybe make those tasks better, or you could even discover something that doesn't exist yet because you're looking at it from a creative point of view. Right. It leads to more positive attitudes as managers and employees feel that they have a contribution towards problem solving. So people are going to be a lot more positive. They see that, right, the organization is actually listening to me, right, and I can contribute in a positive manner. And it improves the motivation among staff members. Right. Everyone's got different creativity, and if an organization accepts everyone's different creative outlooks, people are going to feel a lot more confident there, and that they are part of something bigger, and that their creativity is not just recognized, it's also endorsed. Managers and employees have a feeling of great accomplishment, and they will not resist or obstruct the process once they solved a problem or contributed towards the success of the business, right? So think of it like whenever there's been a massive blockbuster movie made, right? There's a big sense of accomplishment because those people that have made the movies have produced something that is completely new, that's completely amazing. And there's a massive sense of accomplishment there because their creativity has produced that. Management or employees may keep up with the fast-changing technology, especially in this day and age, because you're using creativity, you're continuously looking at using new technology to make new products or services available. It stimulates initiative from employees and managers as they're continuously pushed out of their comfort zone. Remember that nothing grows in the comfort zone. When you get pushed out of your comfort zone, you're going to create stuff that you never thought was possible. And creativity may lead to new inventions, which improves the general standard of living of everyone. Right? Just think of perhaps Zoom calls. A lot of you might have had online teaching during the lockdown. Right? There was technology creating new innovation. And Luni, I think we'll have a break.
Thank you, Dave. Guys, let's take a quick break and we'll see you straight after this. We're back from the ad break matrix. I hope you guys are still enjoying the show. If you've just joined us, we're assisting with your exam prep for the upcoming exams. This next competition is for anyone who wants to win something or you're constantly running out of data. Woza Matrix is bringing you the hashtag Woza Winner competition, where 2 lucky matriculants stand a chance to win 2 gigs of data. All you need to do to enter is head on over to our Facebook page and all of the details will be there. Thank you so much, Dave, and over to you.
Matrix, we're going to be carrying on with your paper 2 revision. We're going through question 3 now. Now this is also a section C question, which comes from an essay. So it asks, differentiate between CSR and CSI. So don't forget that your section B questions can be combined together to form a section C question, and that some of your section C questions that you would have found in past papers could potentially also be a section B question. So you need to make sure that you understand this completely. Now, CSR, or corporate social responsibility, and corporate social investment is something that a lot of matrics get confused with. So they're asking, what are the differences between corporate social responsibility and corporate social investment? So let's have a look at the answer. So firstly, for corporate social responsibility, the intention is to change business practices, right? Where if we look at corporate social investment, the first one is to actively committing money and resources to uplift the community. So for corporate social responsibility, it's about changing business practices, perhaps making the businesses more environmentally friendly so that people don't see the business as damaging the environment. Where corporate social investment is where you're getting involved with programs that uplift a community. If we look at corporate social responsibility, focus is on increasing the image and profits of the business. So if we all of a sudden become an organization that is looking after the environment, we're going to see an increase in the reputation of the business. Perhaps if we decide that we're going to become fully green and we install solar panels so that we go off the electricity grid, we're going to save money down the line because now we don't have to pay for electricity. We're getting free electricity from the sun, which is going to help us with our profitability. If we look at corporate social responsibility again, so it ensures that all internal CSI policies and practices include stakeholders' interests, the environment, and environmental issues, while CSI, the focus is on the uplifting of the community without a return on investment. So if we look at corporate social responsibility, it's all about ensuring that our stakeholders are taken into account. If you look at CSI, we're looking at uplifting the community, but we're not looking for a return on that. So we might have a a project where we start a school, right? We're not looking to make a profit on that school. We're looking to uplift the standard of living of the community by providing them with education without anything coming back to the business. Corporate social responsibility is often intended as a marketing initiative. So if we look at when we're going environmentally friendly, right, that's going to be a marketing initiative that the business can use. They can say, right, we are a very environmentally friendly business, so that people that feel strongly about the environment, they can see their values reflected in our business, which might make them a loyal customer for us. If we look at corporate social investments, it ensures that the CSR projects are relevant to the needs of the communities. So if the community needs a school and I decide that I'm going to build a clinic despite the community having a clinic, that's not relevant to what that community needs. The community needs a school so that they can send their children to school there, right? So that's a need from the community. We mustn't give the community what we think they would want. We must actually see what are the needs of our community, what do they want, and how can we help them satisfy those needs. Corporate social responsibility projects are usually linked to the business, e.g. a manufacturing business offering to train the unemployed. You could perhaps have where a sports team, they might go and have a clinic where they can help train people to become coaches, where when you look at corporate social investment, they're intended to benefit and uplift communities through social development, right? So they're looking at bringing up the standard of living of those particular communities. And then the last one for corporate social investment, projects are external to the business and have a strong developmental approach, right? So perhaps if I'm a business that sells paint and now I've started a school in the community, right? Me selling paint and me starting a school in the community have got nothing to do with each other, but as you can see there, they have they're external to the business, right? So it's not particularly what the business is good at, it's looking at what the community actually needs. If we look at question 4, explain how businesses could deal with HIV/AIDS as a socio-economic issue. So first thing we need to do is we need trained counsellors to provide infected and affected persons and employees. So we'd get counsellors in, and these counsellors would come in and they would then help anyone with counselling that suffers from HIV or AIDS, or if they have a family member that suffers from HIV and AIDS, so that they can talk them through how to cope with it, which is going to mean that the people will be able to cope with it a lot easier, and that's going to benefit the business because now we're dealing with an individual that is feeling more empowered and that they're listened to. We develop counselling programs for infected or affected employees, and we conduct workshops on HIV/AIDS programs and campaigns. So if we look like a lot of people might not know what HIV and AIDS is, so you're going to have these campaigns where you tell people what HIV and AIDS is, how you can contract HIV and AIDS. So it's just spreading that education amongst your employees. Sometimes you're working with employees that don't have a very high education, so you have to try and empower them and educate them on what HIV and AIDS is. You roll out antiretroviral programs or ARV treatment programs for the infected employees. Now the benefit of having antiretrovirals for your employees is that they are going to then be able to live longer. They're not going to be absent from work as much. They're going to be a lot more productive, which means that we're going to have a lower staff turnover. If we have a lower staff turnover, we're going to have more productivity in our business. The more productivity we have, the more profitability we have, which is going to lead to more sustainability with the business. We can encourage employees to join HIV/AIDS support groups. If any of our employees are HIV positive or if they have AIDS, they can join a support group in which they can get help from other people, and they can also talk about their problems, which is going to help empower those employees that are HIV positive or have AIDS. If they feel empowered, they're going to be more confident at work, which is just going to result in more productivity, and they're also going to feel that the company actually looks after them. We're going to develop strategies to deal with the stigma and discrimination around HIV and AIDS. So as to make sure that if someone comes out that they're HIV positive, that they don't get discriminated against, or there isn't a negative stigma around them, so that they feel that they're comfortable at work. Because what might happen is that those people get discriminated against, they give up coming to work, it's going to impact the productivity, and it's not going to be a nice work culture. So you want to have an inclusive work culture where even if people are HIV positive or have AIDS, that they don't get discriminated against and there isn't a negative stigma for them, so that they feel comfortable amongst their fellow employees. And we're going to participate in HIV/AIDS prevention programs implemented in the community. So you'll make sure that you back up any messages that's going around the community about how we can prevent HIV and AIDS, and that the business supports that. And we'll support non-governmental organizations or community-based organizations or any HIV and AIDS initiatives. So perhaps there's HIV and AIDS orphanages that we can help, that we can spread knowledge there, or perhaps even give those organizations resources to help them fight HIV and AIDS. Then question 5, explain how businesses can apply the King Code principles of transparency and accountability to improve ethical business practices. All right, so first one about transparency. So transparency is about, right, how can we see all the decisions that are getting made? Right, if you look in South Africa, there's been a lot of organizations that haven't been transparent, that have lied to their workers, that have lied to their stakeholders, which has resulted in some of those companies either collapsing or on the verge of near collapse. So we're going to see why transparency now is so important according to the King Code. So first thing of all, we've got to do regular audits should be done to determine the effectiveness of the business. So you're going to go in, you're going to audit, say, right, is this business doing the right thing? Are the sales that they're saying is correct? Are they paying the correct expenses, or are things inflated? So you're going to have this audit to make sure that the business is running properly. So it just shows that transparency there, that yes, it's not the managers that are saying the business is doing well, right? The facts and figures back up what the managers have to say. Auditing and other reports must be accurate and available to shareholders and employees. So if you look, when a company releases their financial results, it has to be audited, so it has to be accurate, so that shareholders know that the information they're giving is true, and that they should carry on with the investments in the business. Or if the results aren't good, they can say, right, well, this isn't a company that I should invest in. I should move elsewhere, without that risk of losing all your money because someone is lying. Right. Business deals should be conducted openly so that there's no hint or sign of dishonesty or corruption. If you look, there's a lot of tenders that have gone to people that were politically connected because they knew someone that worked in government. So it's not transparent there, so that can open itself up to corruption and nepotism, which is something that we want to avoid, because that's not being transparent at all. Staffing and other processes should be open and transparent. So how we employ someone, right? So there should be a whole process, and it should be transparent that people can see, right, 3 people applied, only 1 person got the job. These 3 people were A, B, C, right, and they had this criteria. So everything was transparent, so it doesn't seem like there's any underhandedness happening. Employees, shareholders, directors should be aware of the employment policies of the business. Right, so just to make sure that no one is using any nepotism unknowingly, and everyone knows what is expected of them. Right, now if we go to accountability, right, so there must be regular communication between management and stakeholders, like shareholders, right, so where they know what is expected of them, right, and where does the responsibility lie? Who takes that final accountability? The company should appoint internal and external auditors to audit financial statements, right? So internal, you're going to have people that make sure that everything is happening in the business as it should, and then you'll also have external auditors that will come in, so they come in with an objective view, so as to make sure that people within the business aren't intentionally lying and withholding information. So these external auditors are like a safety check to make sure that that everything that's been said in the business is completely true and honest. The board should ensure that the company's ethics are effectively implemented. So the board of directors need to make sure that the company's ethics is doing what is morally right and acceptable, is implemented from the top. Because if it comes from the top, it's going to filter its way down the business. Businesses should be accountable and responsible for their decisions and actions, and then businesses should present accurate annual reports to shareholders at the annual general meeting, so as to make sure that all the facts and figures are true, so that shareholders can make an informed decision. Should I carry on investing in this company, or should I take my money out and go and invest somewhere else? And that's why you will need an external auditor. They have to sign it off. If it comes out that they aren't telling the truth, the external auditors will get into a lot of trouble. And you would have read in the press recently about directors that didn't follow the correct auditing protocol, and now they're facing massive fines in millions of rands and potential criminal sentences as well. I think we'll have a break there, Luni.
Thank you, Dave. Matrix, let's take a quick break and we'll see you shortly after this. Welcome back, Matrix. I hope you guys are still enjoying the show. We are still assisting you to prep for the upcoming exams. Thank you so much, Dave, and over to you.
Welcome back, Matrix. We'll be going through your business studies paper 2. Right, so let's move on to our next question. So it's question 6. Suggest ways in which a business can deal with the following: unethical or unprofessional business practices. So the first question is pricing of goods in rural areas, and the second question is abuse of work time. So if we look at the pricing of goods in rural areas, a business may lobby with other businesses in the area to convince government to improve infrastructure in the rural area. So it might be expensive to get goods to a certain area because you've got to go around a mountain, and it's 100 kilometers to get there, where if government just built a bridge across the valley, it would shorten the travel time substantially. So businesses can lobby government to build infrastructure so as to get goods there quicker and cheaper. The next one is charge fair market-related prices for goods and services. So what the goods might cost in an urban area, we have to make sure that we charge that same price in a rural area. Or you could even say, right, in a rural area, people have less disposable money, so we might have to make the price cheaper in a rural area compared to an urban area because people have got less money in a rural area. We need to avoid unethical business practices to attract customer loyalty. So we don't want to be lying to our customers to try and get them to be loyal to us. So we need to make sure that our business practices are ethical to encourage the loyalty of our consumers. We have to investigate cost-effective ways of transporting products or hire a large truck to combine deliveries for shop owners in the same area. So if we need to get a whole bunch of stuff from Johannesburg down to the rural Eastern Cape, we might be able to go to a whole bunch of the shop owners that operate in that rural community and say, right, we're getting a big truck load of goods coming down here. What would you like to buy so that you can put it on the truck so that we can get the truck here in one go, and that saves us on the cost of having to transport our goods all the way down to the Eastern Cape. So it's just a bit more cost effective for the businesses. You can work together with suppliers to share delivery costs to remote rural areas. So you can work and say it's in your supplier's interest, because the more goods that we can deliver to rural areas, the bigger our market is going to be, the more business we're going to make our suppliers. So we can have that relationship with our supplier to try and bring down the price of goods in rural areas. And it'll benefit not just the supplier, but our business as well. Businesses can buy in bulk to get a discount and avoid charging high prices. So if we can buy in bulk, per unit price is going to go down, which means that we are able to then pass on that saving to our consumers, which is going to mean that the price of goods is going to decrease. If we look at the abuse of work time, we've got to speak directly to those employees who abuse work time. So often what happens is that like the owners of a company or the managers of a company will speak out like generally and say, right, everyone's abusing their work time. They're going on social media rather than doing that work, when actually the managers should actually go to those people and say, right, you're abusing work time because you're spending your whole life looking at your social media accounts rather than actually doing the work that you get paid for in the organization. We should have a code of conduct or ethics, should contain clear rules about the abuse of work time. So it should be told there, right, you cannot go on social media during work time, because it's in our code of conduct, so that the employees actually know, right? If they know, then they'll know, right, this is something that we must avoid and something that I must not do. We can conduct training on the contents of the code of conduct or ethics, and the code of conduct or ethics should be signed by all employees that they are aware of its contents. Right? So if everyone knows what is expected of them, they cannot then use the excuse, oh, I didn't know what was going to, the consequences were. You can say, right, yeah, but you signed this code of ethics, and in this code of ethics, you said that you would uphold companies' work time and only work on company projects during company time and not on personal projects or going on social media. We can monitor employees to ensure that their tasks are completed on time. Remember that you have to monitor your employees within reason. You don't want to encroach on any rights that employees have, right? So you cannot invade their privacy. However, you can monitor them to make sure that they're working on company work during the times that they should be working on it. And we can structure working hours in such a way that employees have free or flexible time for personal matters. Right, so some organizations might say, right, you can come in, if you come in early, you can leave early in the afternoon. So therefore you have your personal time, or you can ask them for specific time in which you might have to go to the bank to do something. Provided that you communicate with your company, you might be able to come up with a deal and say, right, can I have 2 hours to go to the bank and the dentist, and then I'll make sure that I work those 2 hours back later in the day. And create a culture of responsibility and strengthen team spirit in order for all employees to feel responsible for what has to be achieved. Right, so make sure you've got that culture where everyone knows that they have to contribute to the business, and if they have that culture and they believe in that culture, they're not going to be abusing work time at the company. All right, and remind employees that profit will decrease, resulting in less incentives and bonus payouts. Right, so if we are not productive, we're abusing our work time, that means we are not going to have the productivity that we need, which means our profitability is going to drop. And if our profitability drops, the chances of us being sustainable or able to absorb economic downturns become significantly less, which could hamper the survival of the business going forward. So we just need to say to the employees, right, guys, make sure that you're as productive as possible, because we never know what is going to happen in the future. Right, so if we go on to question 7, advise businesses on how they could promote the cultural rights of employees in the workplace. Right, quite big for South Africa, seeing that we have so many different cultures. So how can we promote cultures within the workplace? So the first thing we can do is provide the environment in which employees are free to use their own language when interacting with others during their free time. Right, so if you look at the Springbok rugby team, how many different languages was spoken during the Rugby World Cup within the Springbok rugby team? And it was like, right, you are free to use whichever language you are most comfortable with in your free time, so it doesn't take away anyone's cultural rights or beliefs. We can encourage employees to attend or participate in cultural activities. So a lot of organizations, when it's a Heritage Day, they will allow their employees to come to work in their traditional dress, and it's quite a nice way for employees to interact with each other and to learn about each other's different cultures. We can allow employees to provide solutions to challenges from their cultural perspective, which is something that is big in South Africa. If everyone had to accept everyone's cultures a lot more freely, we are able to get solutions from a different cultural perspective, which we might not have thought coming from one culture, and that can help the business take advantage of any business opportunities in the future. Regular culture information sessions will help employees respect each other's culture in the workplace, and then make provisions for different cultures, such as food served in the canteen or entertainment at staff functions. So there we're just making sure that we're looking at what different cultures we have in the business, and we're making sure that everyone has a place within our business. And we can employ people from various cultural backgrounds. Just look at the Springbok rugby team, the different cultures that you have there, and they all came together to achieve a massive goal of winning the Rugby World Cup. And it said something about how diverse South Africa is, and when we work together, what we can achieve. And employees should be trained on cultural tolerance. So no one culture is more important than the other, and if we can tolerate each other's cultures a lot more, right, you're going to see a lot less conflict happening in the workplace, which is what we want. Question 8 is a multiple choice question about the King Code principle that requires companies to have their financial statements audited regularly. So we've got option A, profitability, B, responsibility, C, sustainability, and D, transparency. And our answer is transparency, because now people know exactly what is happening. The results are there, and people can read it in black and white. There's no hiding away certain elements, so it's very transparent. Everyone can see what's happening there. If we go question 9, this problem-solving technique requires each employee first to generate his or her own ideas and then share them with the members. So we've got A, brainstorming, B, force field analysis, C, empty chair technique, and D, the nominal group technique. And our answer is D, the nominal group technique. Right, a lot of you might confuse that with brainstorming. Brainstorming is where there's a group of people and we're all giving ideas, where the nominal group technique is you come up with ideas by yourself first, right, and then you can present them to the group. So just make sure that people that might be a little bit shy in a brainstorming session can actually give their points across, and it makes it a bit more inclusive. All right, guys, so to wrap up the session, right, make sure you practice a lot of past papers. You can download them offline. Make sure you read the instructions carefully. when we look at section B, you're only expected to answer 2 questions, and in section C, you're only expected to answer 1 question so that you don't go over the time limit. You can start with any question that you would like to. So if you want to start with the section C question, you can. Just make sure you manage your time effectively. Most importantly, get enough sleep so that you're feeling fresh for the exam. And go out there and crush it, guys. If you put in all the hard work and effort, you're going to get the results that you deserve. Back to you, Looney.
Thank you, Dave. Matrix, we're wishing you everything of the best for the upcoming exams. Don't forget to use our resources to help you prepare. Congratulations to all of the competition winners who will be announced on Facebook after the show. Please check out our schedule on www.wozomatrix.co.za, and if you missed any of the lessons, guys, they are available on YouTube as well. From me, Looney, Nicolene, and Dave, thank you and goodbye.
Of 2020. Congratulations for being so brave, so committed, and for staying the course during one of the most difficult years in our history. We're here to support you all the way. Our Woza Matric campaign was set up to support you up until the 8th of December 2020. We are offering you interactive exam guides, shows on SABC3, DSTV, Catch Up, and OVHD Channel 122 that are not to be missed. I wish you all the best in your final exams. You are the hope and the future of our country, and we're so proud of you for coming this far. No matter the outcome, you are at the finish line. Now give it your very, very best. And I thank you.
Hey, welcome to our lounge. And you are with me, Darlene, and Hannah, who's with me on set here. It's about time you were in the lounge with us so that you could learn some things with us and have some fun. Today, we're going to talk about time management. So, time management. Time is the most valuable thing that you have. Time is what you can't buy. You can't buy time. You can buy friends. No. You can't buy friends, but you can actually make more friends. You can make more money. You can't make more time.
Yeah.
True? So we're going to chat about time and see how does time management affect us when it comes to our studies and actually our lives, because our time management can affect us in so many tiny areas that can change the trajectory of everything that we do. So the first thing I want to talk about is it's about time over time. Time over time. In other words, everything that we do when it comes to studying or exercising, it's about being consistent time over time. You want to get muscles, guys, you go work out in the gym. It's time over time, slowly and surely, that you build the muscles up so that you can strengthen them and look buff. Ladies, it's time over time. You are growing those nails, it takes time, but you have to look after yourself. Everything is about time over time, and everything stacks up and builds on each other, time after time. You cannot do exercise every now and again. You have to do it consistently. That keeps you healthy. So that's the first one. Don't forget it, time over time. Then we've got the next one. I want you to remember this point. It's neglect adds up. Neglect adds up. So if you neglect to do things, it actually adds up and it breaks things down. Does that make sense? Neglect adds up. You neglect to study, it adds up. Neglect adds up. You neglect to look after yourself. You don't look after your health. You don't look after your hair. You don't look after your studies, your hygiene, exercising. It all adds up, and you can't make it up again Remember, we said you can't make up for lost time when it comes to these things. You have to realize time management is one of your most valuable assets when it comes to studying, when it comes to sorting and ordering your life. You can't catch up on sleep if you're going to just keep on, time over time, losing sleep and neglecting to sleep. You're going to be exhausted after a while. So neglect adds up. Then the next one we're going to look at is, Hannah, what are you doing there? Because we're looking at random doesn't add up.
A random doesn't add up.
It doesn't add up. So actually we're looking at some bricks over here. I saw Hannah was busy moving with building bricks and that. Random doesn't add up. These bricks are placed in a random place. You can't build a wall with bricks that are randomly placed. You can't study by studying your maths once a week, once a month. Maybe we'll do something. You can't actually build up in the gym if you go once every now and again. Let's also look at random doesn't add up. You can't eat one meal and expect it to last you for 15 days. You can't put petrol in your petrol tank and expect it to last you for the whole month, although we wish it would. So random doesn't add up. You have to be consistent with your time over time, which is what Hannah was showing us just now when she was building. We have to be able to build brick upon brick, block upon block, time over time. It's hard, it's discipline, it's one of your values in the light of your past experience and your current circumstances, your future hopes and dreams. What are you doing with your time? And then the next one is, we can't make up for lost time. You cannot make up for lost time.
Yeah.
It's gone. You can't say, oh, I should have, I could have. Have you ever felt that way? I should have, I could have. You can't make up for it. You just cannot make up for it. So you have to make the most of every single moment that you have and make the most of the time that you put out for yourself on your vision boards, the way that you're planning your day. Make sure that you look at your watches and you reminded every time you look at your watch, every time you look at your phone and look at the time, think about it. What are my big rocks, my values? And am I looking at my time? How is my time management? Time management for us in any grade, in anything, adds up. As Hannah's shown us here, little bit by little bit, we can build something good. Build your time.